oh boy, James Click is moving. So, hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Astros, and I'm here to talk about the Astros acquiring Christian Vázquez and Will Smith. No, the other one. Thank you. So Astros, right after acquiring Trey Mancini, go out and solve the catcher issue, and then during the game tonight, we go out and get a lefty for the bullpen. So we'll start with the Christian Vázquez trade because it's, an absolute gem of a trade by James Click. He's done it again. I thought the Mancini trade was a great trade. This one might be better. The Astros give up the 28th and 29th ranked prospects in our system for Christian Vázquez for the rest of this season, who is having a very nice season. His defense is about mediocre. He's a little lower than Maldonado in counting statistics for frame runs above average and framing overall on Baseball Prospectus. He is actually higher than Maldonado for catcher framing on Baseball Savant, but Baseball Prospectus is way better in every aspect for catching statistics. I just thought I'd at least throw the Baseball Savant thing out there since I am such a proprietor and lover of Baseball Savant. So the Astros send Willer Abreu and Emmanuel Valdez to the Red Sox in exchange for Christian Vázquez. And I'd like to say this very quickly. The fact that Vázquez had to find out he was being traded via the media is absolutely awful, and I get that they just had the information sooner, but man, oh man, your heart goes out to that guy because that is a crappy way to figure out that your life is being uprooted. So what do the Astros give up? We'll start with that. Willer Abreu, this season in Double-A, has been having a good season. 249 batting average, 399 OBP, 459 slug, 390 WOBA in Double-A. Now, that's a 125 WRC plus, which I feel is very relative because you look at just the triple slash and you go, wow, he's having a crazy good season. Offense is higher in that level, so yeah, those are great numbers, but WRC plus only at 125. So he's a good prospect. He's a very good prospect. There was a scout for the Astros, that said, yeah, these were two bigger losses, and that's Abreu. We also need to talk about Emmanuel Valdez, who this season has split time between Double-A and Triple-A. In Double-A this season, 205 plate appearances, triple slash of 357, 463, and 649 for a WRC plus in Double-A of 178, which is, yeah, he's having a great season in Double-A. After being moved to Triple-A, he has tailed off a bit, which is sort of to be expected. 173 plate appearances there, 296 batting average, 347 OBP, 560 slugging, that's still pretty high, for a 118 WRC plus. But the Astros get back Christian Vázquez, who this season for Boston in 318 plate appearances has put up a triple slash of 282, 327, 432 for a 330 WOBA and a 111 WRC plus. And here's the thing, the 111 WRC plus, that's above average. That's a solid player. But the fact that he's doing this at the catcher position, which league average for catchers isn't one, it's about 90. That's really good. You're getting a well above average catcher offensively. And the fact that you're going from, and this is not to slander, I love Maldi as a person. I love him as a mind behind the plate. But man, you're going from a 66 WRC plus catcher to a 111, and I don't want to say game changing, because again, it's only a 111. But you're nearly doubling the offensive production. Like, imagine if you went from a league average player to a 160, right? That's the jump we're making with Maldonado. So that trade overall, I think, is really solid. And to top it all off, yes, they were two good prospects for the Astros that some people in the organization viewed as really good and valuable. But both of them would have been available in the Rule 5 draft this coming off season. And so we could have lost one. Hell, we could have lost both of them. And if you want to take it like that, even if you just want to say we would only have lost one of them in the Rule 5 draft, Click is trading more or less one prospect for a starting catcher who is going to drastically improve the offense at the catcher position for our playoff run. I think it's a really, really solid trade. And again, you went out and did it without burning the farm. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a second. Let's talk about the Jake Odorizzi trade. The Astros trade Jake Odorizzi, and it kind of felt like it was coming for a while now, whether it was via release, reassignment to the minors, whether it was a trade. We thought it was coming. I thought it was going to be one of the first two. The fact that we got any value for Jake Odorizzi is kind of shocking, and solid value, actually. We would get Will Smith. No, No, the other one. Thank you. This season, in 37 innings, Will Smith has a 4.38 ERA, a 3.95 expected ERA, and a FIP a little over 5.2. Now, those are not wonderful numbers, but my big thing when I'm talking about relief pitchers is you have to look at overall game logs rather than ERA, FIP, and what have you, because one or two bad games are going to completely firebomb a relief pitcher's ERA, and that is certainly the case with a guy like Will Smith. 41 games this season, and he's allowed runs in only 12 of them. So I think he's solid. I like the trade. And I think more or less this was James Click looking at the bullpen going, do I want a right-handed arm for the pen or a left-handed arm for the pen? Because very likely Jake Odorizzi was going to be the man sent to the pen once Lance gets back. And I'm also going to throw that in here. This, to me, says that not only is Lance looking good in his rehab starts to management, but also that he's going to be back soon. So that bodes incredibly well for Lance McCullers Jr. 3 trades today, and I thought all of them were very good trades for the Astros and for James Click. And that's really what I want to talk about right now, which is James Click made 3 trades to improve the bullpen, improve the first base / outfield position, depending on where you want to put Trey Mancini, and the catcher position. All quasi-drastically opposed to what we currently had in those spots. And he gave up Jose Siri, a super low-level pitching prospect, Jake Odorizzi, and a couple of hitting prospects. And I would also like to say, the infielder, I forget, I think it was Wilmer Abreu. I'm going to check that really quickly, please. Yes, so Emmanuel Valdez really only plays second base or third base, and both of those positions are kind of locked up. So he makes 3 improvements to the team without really giving up anything or any high-level prospects. And that's great because the Astros have quite a few holes that we're going to need to fill after this offseason. There's some things that are going to need to be addressed, and we kind of need to save some prospects to either fill the holes via trade or by being put into those positions going into 2023. And that was my big thing. I was going to make a video, I thought about it, talking about the trade deadline, saying, hey, maybe don't make any moves because we're kind of going to be shorthanded going into next year. And Click did both. He addressed problems this season while not spending much going into next season. It's incredible. I decided to write some stuff down because I just thought it was so incredible. In the past, this season, right, just this season, James Click brought back Justin Verlander for only $25 million, which the level he's pitching at is a bargain and a half, including luring him away from the Yankees, who offered him the same money, so it wasn't even anything more than he just out-talked the Yankees, which is pretty darn beautiful. He extended Yordan Alvarez, who is now having a season not seen since the 1990s for the Astros club, and not seen in league-wide MLB since Barry Bonds was doing Barry Bonds things in the early 2000s. He brought him back for 6 years, paying him about $19 million a year, which is going to take him through his prime. He got Mancini for Siri basically straight up. He got Vázquez for a couple of prospects that we might have lost in the Rule 5 draft. He let Correa walk and trusted Jeremy Pena, who this season has an extra win above replacement over Carlos Correa because of how good his defense is, and now just went out and flipped Jake Odorizzi, who some people wanted RFA'd or DFA'd, for a solid relief pitcher. This isn't even digging into what he's done in the past few years trade-wise, like the Stanek trade, the Montero trade. This isn't even talking about any of that. This is just this calendar year. How can you not love him? And again, I don't think we're done. I really, really don't. We still have more pieces that we can play around with. We still have bartering chips. And hey, maybe you want to make some big, gutsy, crazy move, and you move some of the higher prospects. You can do that now because you've already filled other holes, basically giving up bags of peanuts. Also, right now, assuming we don't make any more moves for any position players, and if we make any more moves, it's just for bullpen, which I gotta be honest, I could still see us making a move for a position player. I don't know. I still feel like maybe Josh Bell is an option. I know that would really start to question where we're putting who, but I think it's in play. I want to see what happens tomorrow. But right now, The starting nine would be Vázquez as our catcher, Mancini as our first baseman, Altuve at second, Pena at short, Bregman at third, Brantley in left field. I would try and do something absolutely wacky with how good he's been recently. Tucker at center, and then allow Diaz to play right, and you have Jordan as a DH. I think we're going to win the World Series. So earlier when I made a trade video, as soon as I was done editing it and started to upload it, we made another trade. So let's see if that happens again, and if it is, I'll be back when that happens. If not, I'll be back tomorrow with maybe some more deadline stuff or maybe a recap video. Who's to say? I don't think James Click is done wheeling and dealing. And this has been a masterclass by James Click to this point, and I am very excited to see what else he does. But that is all I have to say for the evening. So thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day, and as always, go Stros.